if you were with us a couple of Fridays ago, Sam Seder joined me for a chat about the election. We talked in that show about him going on Tim Pool. He has a bit of a, I was going to say love-hate relationship, probably a hate-hate relationship with Tim Pool, if we're being honest. And he finally went on, and it's 3 hours. I've listened to all of it. I enjoyed it because Sam is very, very good at what he does. But there's a particular part of, and it was very civil, well, it wasn't civil really, and Sam was very blunt, but it wasn't shouty, and it became shouty when they were talking about abortion. Now, I'll let this, now honestly, this part of the conversation is probably 20 minutes total. I've tried to find a couple of clips out of things I want to speak to, but actually Sam ties up Tim in all sorts of knots by just kind of going, and how would that work? And who would decide that? And how would that work there? And who would decide that? And this is a part of the conversation where they're talking about if you're forced to carry the baby, the fetus, the unborn child of someone who's raped you, then you are the rapist. By the way, we've just been demonetized. The rapist continues to have some form of power over your life, because you have to carry the baby no matter what. It's a very generalized commentary, but let's have a listen to what they're saying.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again?
The overturning of Roe v. Wade created the legal precedents by which states could begin to remove restrictions.
No. They could. I think they could have done that prior to that. I think they could have done that prior to that.
So the question ultimately is, I'm not going to come down as the supreme judge and just say like it must be. The right is wrong. I say, and I've told Republicans this, if I was a woman that got raped and you told me I had to have a baby, I'd blow my brains out. Like, there is no fucking way you will tell me that I'm going to, by force, without my consent, give my body to...
I mean, it's crazy example he gives, saying he'd kill himself, but you can hear pretty clearly he's basically saying that this is part one of this conversation, that you should never force the victim of rape to have to carry a baby. He's basically saying, if that happened, the person would be completely understandable if they took their own life. That's what he's saying.
You are telling that that woman who got raped,
there is some degree of responsibility.
You have to announce this. You need to follow certain procedures as a victim of a crime, and if you don't, we're going to force you to carry that child to term.
Now, backstory. The reason they're telling this is Tim Pool has made the position that abortion's up until 15 weeks. If you are the victim of rape, you need to prove you've been raped to be able to get an abortion at any stage. And that, of course, is the conversation that Sam Seder goes about. Who would decide that? How would that work? So there has to be a court case. No. How would you prove it was rape? What if someone just walked in and said, I've been raped? So that was that whole thing. And so that's just a bit of the prelude to why Sam's talking about you would be forcing. That's the prelude to it.
100%.
Okay.
There's a responsibility we have as victims of crimes as well. And one of the problems we have in this country is that...
That's an interesting theory.
Well, it's true. Right? If you're a victim and you want accountability and justice, you have
what
to go to court.
what if you make the determination that I don't want to go through what is involved with getting accountability and justice, but I also don't want to carry my rapist child? In that scenario, the woman is out of luck, according to you.
If you are not willing to take your responsibilities,
the responsibilities that the rapist has imposed upon you.
Indeed, yes.
Okay. So this is what do you call this? The Rapist in Power Act?
I suppose you'd say that liberals have a view that they have no responsibilities at all. That there is no
I don't feel like I have a responsibility. I certainly don't feel that if I was someone who could be, I am making an argument.
Well, the Rapist Responsibility Act is an emotional nonsense.
No, it isn't.
We're talking about a person's responsibility to society.
That is exactly what you're suggesting.
It's drama nonsense.
No, it's not drama nonsense.
If you want me to pause at any time, Chewy, this goes for about 4 more minutes total. You just throw your hands up, wave them around like you just don't care. Is there now that we've paused, do you want to add anything at the moment?
I just don't understand his position. It's so fucking alien to me.
Well, and what it is if you're imposing that this is a really this is actually from Sam, because Sam is obviously quite nuanced when he needs to be, but the nuance within this is actually. It's actually, Tim doesn't seem to understand that restrictions on abortion leads to women dying, because if there's restrictions on abortions, that means someone makes a decision somewhere that this can or can't happen, and there needs to be an authority to do that, there needs to be a procedure to do that, and ultimately it ends up with people dying. So therefore, does that mean no restrictions? Or does that mean, so this is so it's been a more nuanced conversation to this point, but this is the point where I guess Sam blows the foo-foo valve. So it's the bit at the end that I really wanted to show you. And then there's another clip of it after this talking about Tim Pool makes the case that if the unborn is viable of life, then they shouldn't be able to abort it. But maybe what they could do is have a cesarean section and remove that unborn baby and enable it to live, because if it's viable, then it's viable. I mean, this is the world that he's living in. This is the world where he's having to thread that needle of basically appeasing the mostly right-wing viewers that support him, the libertarian viewers that support him, and also trying to keep his bona fide of, I was part of Occupy. It's a strange world that this guy lives in.
Clipping.
No, it is not.
Yes, you are. Come on,
dude.
You're not
I
making
don't
an
give
argument.
A shit about.
Make an argument. Don't say nonsense
the
words like
argument
rape.
is that what you are suggesting
is
that a woman who is raped has a responsibility that has been bestowed upon them by the rapist. The rapist has chosen you. If I shoot you in the face, I have caused you I have imparted upon you a responsibility. What you're talking about is fascistic. It is
Sam, do you think
disgusting.
That if someone commits a crime against you...
And so I'm sorry I said Rape Empowerment Act and tried to do it in a more satirical way. What you're talking about
logic centers are shutting down.
And listen, no.
You're getting overly emotional.
No, I'm not.
You are not speaking logically anymore.
No. What you're doing
when a person is a victim of a crime, they have to file paperwork to get accountability.
Like you can find something in here, but
you're not
it is
talking about the argument anymore.
Nonsense. Yes, it is.
You are no longer talking about the issue,
because
nor the
everybody
law.
sees. Oh, I am.
You are getting
definitely
overly
talking
emotional.
about it. I don't.
You're talking about my person. You're doing ad hominems. You've lost it.
No. Here's
Sam,
the point.
let's start with the law.
You're so full of crap.
You see,
it's
here you go.
Amazing.
You can't even make an argument anymore, can you?
I don't need to, because everybody who's watched this, no. Everybody who's watched this knows that
you have an emotional
you're saying that a rape victim has a responsibility that has been bestowed upon them by the rapist. It's gross. It's disgusting.
You are having an emotional breakdown right now.
I'm not having an emotional breakdown right now.
Do you think the police
I'm getting
should be...
exercise
you want to wait?
Because I'm thinking of my daughter.
Here we go.
I'm thinking of my daughter.
Here it is.
And I'm thinking of the idea that a rapist could force her to do something that...
You're spiraling.
No,
You're spiraling.
No.
You're spiraling.
Tim,
you're not even stopping talking.
Because you just
You're not even stopping talking.
You never think out anything that you say.
We're going to say something?
You're
we're going to talk, or are you going to keep
just
talking about
faced
nonsense?
you in front of all of your
audience. Are you going to wait for... You're prop clipping.
Rapist
You're prop clipping, Sam.
Act.
You're prop clipping.
I don't even know what that means.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You're prop clipping again.
What is prop clipping?
You're not arguing abortion anymore.
What is prop clipping?
You said, Tim, you're full of crap. You're not arguing abortion anymore.
Because
you disgust me. Oh, rape, blah, blah. You stopped arguing.
You're saying that
you stopped arguing and you started doing performative garbage for the camera.
No.
I'll show you in a second. This has got like 60 seconds to go. Why the one who's being performative is Tim Pool, and the evidence in and of itself that Tim Pool does not think through anything that he says, which is the accusation that Sam's just made.
No, I'm
you
not.
Want to have a discussion, Sam?
Dude, the best part of this
you want to have a discussion, or are you going to keep talking?
You in knots about the idea that a rapist can force a woman.
Here you go again. Here you go again. You're making things up.
I'm reiterating.
You're prop clipping.
I am reiterating.
You're prop clipping.
I am reiterating your
You're
position.
getting overly emotional. You're getting heated. You're finger pointing. You're throwing slurs and name calling. You're
full of slur.
Well, forgive me. You're so full of crap. You disgust me. That's not an
honestly.
You want to have a discussion?
I got to be honest with you.
You want to have a discussion, or you're going to have an emotional breakdown?
You know what? I am going to continue with the so-called emotional breakdown, because honestly, I think
that's right. Sam.
No, I honestly.
Let's solve our problems by Sam just freaking out and having emotional breakdowns on camera.
I honestly think that what you do is so damaging.
Oh no!
And this
here he goes.
Whole notion that you would allow
it took 2 hours and 40 minutes for you to break.
Yeah,
you
this
broke.
whole
Sam.
Why are you
You
keeping
broke.
me from talking?
Because you haven't
If
let
you
me talk
think
one
I'm-
time.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Victims of crimes who want accountability have responsibilities.
What if they don't want accountability? What if they don't want to put themselves on the stand and have to point
they
out
don't get
that
accountability.
guy? Okay, but they have to carry the baby, right? According to you,
If they don't want accountability, then this is
then they have to carry the baby.
This is reality.
Say it.
A woman.
Say it. If they
I will
don't
say it as
want
plainly as
accountability,
I can say
they
it
have to
100%.
carry that rapist baby.
If a woman does not want accountability for her rape, she will carry that baby.
She has to.
She has to, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, up to 15 weeks.
That's the prop clip I want right
up
there.
to 15 weeks.
I mean, I think we have come to an agreement.
Clip number 1, Chewy. Your thoughts, sir?
That is probably one of the most frustrating clips I have ever watched.
Yeah.
And if I was in Sam Seder's position about halfway through that, I'd be trying to make Tim Pool eat his own chair.
But
Live
that's the
on
problem. If you react in that sort of way, then they go. I mean, this is the gish
Oh.
gallop, you know. Then they go, well, we've
And
won.
that-
It's like on Twitter, someone starts arguing with you on Twitter, and eventually you kind of go, I've had enough of this, and they go, yay, we've won. That was you just saw. You always say the Herald comment section. You just saw a Twitter thread in real life.
That's absolutely what it is. That constant over talking, that you're doing this, you're doing that. I'm just going to repeat the same. I'm just going to repeat. I'm just going to repeat. I'm just going to break your flow. I'm just going to prop clipping, whatever. Is just made. It's just done to make someone flip the fuck out, and then you can claim the moral high ground. It is absolutely what he wanted to do. And go, look, he's all emotional. Like, I don't see how you can. I don't see how you can remain unemotional unless you're an absolute psychopath with some of these things that they're talking about. It's just madness. I feel like I'm going crazy.
Well, I've got
Because
one more
to me,
one
this
more
is
clip to send you over
such
the edge.
a clear-cut discussion. Like, it's always theoretical. What if it's rape? What if it's... Who the fuck cares? Let's ask the person that's going to live with this for 9 months or 18 fucking years. It's their decision. That's it. Put it to bed. Every rational, like, if you have a religious belief that people shouldn't have abortions, cool. You can enforce that up to the limits of your own body. That's fine. Put it to bed. Like, it's just mental to me.
Well, I want to show you one more clip, and this is much shorter. But this is Tim talking a little bit about if the fetus, the unborn, the baby, the life inside the mother is viable, then no abortions. So up to 15 weeks. And then, of course, Sam ties him up in knots with what's viable. And even Tim's like, I don't know, 22, 28, 15 weeks, whatever. And it's like, so you have these big ideas, but no details to actually work out what would happen. It's easy to have a big idea, but when you drill down into it and go, well, how would this work? And I used to do it on Talkback. I'd say to callers, and then what? Like just that. That's all you say. And then what? You know, to get to the bottom of it. And very, very rarely can someone in this sort of world go more than 2 or 3 and then what's deep, because they've never really thought about the headline. They've heard a political figure say it or a religious figure say it or a podcaster say it, and they've never actually gone below it to see what that means. So this part of the conversation that we're going to wrap up with is talking about the unborn being viable, then there should be no abortions allowed.
I agree. There's an issue where if the baby can survive on its own, there's no reason to kill it.
Well, I mean, would you be in favor of a woman getting a C-section in 4 or 5 months just because she doesn't want to carry the baby anymore?
If the baby can survive on its own, my position is typically the woman can make that choice, as long as the baby's not being killed. But, you know, so you know how they perform abortions after that point?
How they perform abortions after what?
Like there's varying degrees of how abortions are performed. So
Yes.
the question I have is this. Let me put it this way. You know,
Like dilation and extraction? Are you talking about in terms of like...
my
Yes.
position largely is we've got 2 real distinct worldviews on this one that are extreme ends. They neither agrees with each other, and I'm trying to navigate in between to get people to be like, look, there's got to be some standard.
Dude, these are the ideas behind anti-abortion are primarily religious fundamentalism and it is about maintaining a gender hierarchy. And the idea that you can negotiate, you're basically taking Hillary Clinton's position from 2004.
Probably.
And it doesn't work that way. The fundamentalists who are pushing this ideology, and it's largely fundamentalists, if not directly, certainly downstream from a religious fundamentalism, they're not interested in your compromise. It is, and the proof.
That's the other game that some of these Tim Pool things, they look for a compromise. There is no compromise to a so-called pro-lifer, which is not actually an accurate term. What they're saying is, especially in America, they're not pro-life, they're pro-live birth. Because if they were pro-life, they'd care about the baby after it was born. And most of these pro-lifers are also people who are very anti things like welfare and, free things for children and stuff. But the baby's there. That's where they then go, right, my job's done. And there is no compromise for many within that group, which Sam is about to explain.
Proof of it is...
Not interested in yours.
I'm not compromising. The proof of it is after 50 years, there was a compromise. It was Casey. Exactly what you're talking about, which is why when you asked me at the beginning, I said, at the very least, go back to Roe v. Wade and maintain those protections. But that equilibrium was not enough for the right-wing Republican Party. And so, therefore, that's where we're at now. That's the end of story.
And now we have states with no restrictions, and we have states with absolute restrictions.
There was a compromise, and the right wing in this country did not want it. That's it. That's why this is why a debate. And you have an individual right that has cost the lives of multiple women across the country. It is increased infant mortality, like I said, at least in Texas, by 15%. And I think it also, and I think it's much harder to measure this, but it subjugates women in this country because it basically says you have less rights to have bodily autonomy, and that's just the beginning.
Second clip, and let me just wrap up this, Chewy, by saying this. The reason, and look, we love Sam. We would like to talk to Sam as much as possible. He could come on every single day if he wanted to. But the question that Sam didn't ask was this mythical idea of removing babies when they're viable and allowing them to continue on. The question that wasn't asked, so who pays? Who pays for a 21-week baby that's now in intensive care?
Tim Pool. Tim Pool
Tim Pool is a libertarian. This is the thing. Who pays? And I just did a little bit of research about America, about prem babies in the NICU. Here we go. How much is it to say a week in the NICU? Well, it can be $8,600 per day. $8,600 per day to stay in it. Now, if we have a look at some research that's come out, if the baby is 24 weeks, their average length of stay is 123 days, up to 31 weeks, and then it goes down to 34 days. That is over $1 million at 24 weeks. And that is something like $400,000 or $500,000 or $300,000 at 34 weeks. And with him being a libertarian, the one question that Sam didn't ask was, so who pays? Because it's all good and well to have this idea, which is a ridiculous idea. I'm with you, but who pays? The only good thing I think I got from it, and I'll do this at the end, Chewy. That's pretty much me on that thing. And I've got one more thing to show you about Tim Pool, but that's about it for now. $1 million. So Tim's okay with $1 million being spent on a 24-week baby by choice being put into NICU.
At the end of the day, it's all theoretical for Tim. Like he's not a woman. He's not going to have to. It's all theoretical. And like the dude pretends to be a libertarian, and like every dude that pretends to be a fucking libertarian, they're not. They're not. Like if it's libertarian, if it's individual choice, make it individual choice. It should be a really easy position for a libertarian to go. It is the person's. It is the individual's decision what they do. They have bodily autonomy over themselves. The state should not get involved in their decision. All perfectly reasonable libertarian positions to take on abortion. It's a medical procedure. you know. But it's always messed up in religion and more traditional right-wing US thinking on what should happen with women's bodies or the decisions that they make. I keep coming back to the fact because of course they're talking about rape. Not that it matters. I don't care what the reason that the woman wants an abortion. She's someone that has made that decision, and I'm sure in the vast, overwhelming majority of cases has agonized over that choice. Men, talk to the women in your lives, and maybe they will tell you if they have experienced a sexual assault. And I fucking guarantee you, if they trust you enough to tell you, it will make your blood run cold. The percentage of women in your life that you know that have had to deal with sexual assault. Maybe they went to the cops. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they just tried to carry on their life. Maybe they had to deal with a situation like, oh shit, I'm carrying this fucking rapist's baby. Maybe they didn't. But it makes my blood run hot and cold at the same fucking time that here we are in this place in human development, and we are still, they still have to deal with that, and there's still dudes talking about it on fucking podcasts like it's our fucking business. It drives me absolutely batty. Politicians can stay in their fucking lanes and argue about tax and military defense and all of this sort of stuff. The state steps into a woman's decision like this, they should be burned alive.